What's going on? Welcome to another live edition of Real Fans Real Talk. Sorry for having y'all up so late tonight, but y'all know we was at Ballin for Peace last night, and had to get my bro had to get back home, so we had to make sure everybody got in safe. But we ready to rock and roll. We got a lot to get to. We got to recap Ballin for Peace. Y'all been hitting us all week about Detroit. They were the Woman of Troy documentary, so we're gonna get into that in just a minute. Um, and then we had a I don't know if we could call it a fight. It was more like a bloodbath, but something went down on Saturday night. But before we get get into all of that, let me introduce my co-host, the one and only Eric Sanchez, aka Legend in Two Games. Was good, man.
What's really good, man. Super excited coming off the Ballin for Peace charity softball game. Shout out to everybody who came out and supported Ballin for Peace. And we're back with another great episode, man. Very exciting weekend. We did have a fight. It just didn't go the way we thought.
Yeah, basically that was what I was saying. With that whole thing there. But yeah, man. Balling for Peace. Let's talk about it. It's another dope event. Big shout out to Haran, H2O Hargrave. Big shout out to everybody that came out, the community. Shout out to the NYPD. That came out and all in the name of a good cause. For our youth, for our community, and Team Bowling for Peace. They got some get back this year because last year the NYPD beat them down in the softball game. But this year H2O called in a couple of ringers. He had some actual baseball players out there, and they managed to get the win. Eric, what was your favorite part about Bowling for Peace, though?
The event itself was great. The game was super competitive. I love seeing all the vendors out there and just seeing the community come together. There was a diverse group out there, a diverse group of supporters out there as well. We weren't the only media outlet. There were other media outlets. So there was a lot of content being created and captured in the moment. So the whole event, I thought was great. The integration of the music with the community, with the cause, was amazing. And Haran did it again, man. Another successful Ballin for Peace.
Absolutely. Hold on 1 second. Let me get right.
We got to get Trip right there, man. And as you mentioned, Team Equality got their get back against Team Peace. Team Peace won last year, and it was a shutout last year.
Yeah,
So Haran and shout out to Kevin Ogletree, who we got the chance to speak with. He
facts.
he put on his GM hat for this one and had to call in the big bats to kind of even the playing field.
Facts. We're gonna drop that interview soon for you guys. I haven't had a chance to chop it up yet, but we're gonna drop that. We'll probably play it for you on next week's show. But yeah, man, dope event. Yo, man, it was. I love seeing the kids out there, man. The kids was out there dancing. I'm gonna put together a nice little recap video for you guys for next week, for the whole Ball for Peace as well. But the kids was out there. They enjoyed themselves. The stars was out. So it was definitely a good event. And Eric, there was rumblings, they was talking, they said, they know how, we do the dunk contest, how we sponsor the dunk contest every year, for the celebrity basketball game. And the streets been talking. They want us to do a home run derby at next year's Ballin for Peace. So I'm gonna ask you right here on the air in front of everybody. Should we do it, or should we step it up too and get the home run derby going?
I think we should. It's only right. I don't think it's coincidence that we're talking at the third annual softball game about a home run derby, because I believe it was the third annual basketball game that the dunk contest was introduced as well.
You know what?
Crazy. You see how the stars align there. But it would be amazing. The only thing is the dynamics are going to have to be figured out, because that is a traditional softball field where there's really not a fence out there.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to set some sort of dimensions out there, maybe set some cones out, and then maybe you and I got to be in the outfield judging to make sure if they actually home runs or not.
Yeah, because if we're gonna give up the cash, we got to make sure
right
we got some official home runs being hit. But yeah, man, I'm with it. So H2O, because I know you're watching right now. I'm saying it right here. Real Fans Real Talk will be sponsoring the home run derby at next year's Ballin for Peace celebrity charity softball game versus the NYPD. So for all y'all out there that think y'all got some skills hitting the baseball, get ready for next year, because it's going down. I don't know how much we're gonna give out just yet, but we're gonna find out. We got a year to figure it out, so we can get to that a little bit later. But it definitely was what was lit, man, at Ballin for Peace. and everybody had a good time and everybody went home safe, man. That's the most important thing. You couldn't ask for anything more than that, man. Got a little sip on out there.
Oh
They had
yeah.
drinks was popping. So other than that, what you gonna complain about, man?
They had a little bit of everything, man. They had the piragua truck out there. They
Mhm.
had mixed drinks, they had food, they had merchandise, they had music. So it was a great variety of everything. Again, another successful event for Haran. I think he's doing a wonderful job. We've talked about it plenty of times. So, but we're gonna always give him his flowers because what he does is so special and so unique, bringing the community together. And as he always says, peace through sports. And so
Yes.
to have the NYPD out there yesterday and in this current climate that our country has been in, to see that interaction and especially for the young kids, like you mentioned, there were youth teams that were out there because there was a youth clinic that took place before the celebrity game started. So for the kids to be able to see the interactions and understand that these are still human beings as well. Yeah, there's some bad cops, we know that, but every cop isn't a bad cop. So to see them interact with the police, I thought was great for the community.
Facts, facts. Shout out to my bro Kai, because it's somebody that I went to college with. So when we say we know not all police are bad, this is somebody, I'm saying, that I went to school with. I've known, I want to say, maybe 20 years now. Good brother, and he's been coming out to support Haran and bringing his fellow brethren from the NYPD out, and they've been doing it for the last couple of years between the softball game and the football game. So you gotta tip your hat to them as well for making the effort, because that's the most important thing when you're talking about things like these and trying to improve, the relationship between the community and between NYPD. You have to make the effort. Those officers that came out, they did that. They've been doing that. They're going to continue to do that next month, because the football game will be going down again August 26th. When we get closer to August 26th, we'll give you guys some more info on that. But it is going to be the celebrity football game. It's not tackle, so don't worry. Yeah, everybody gonna be good. Now you might catch a cramp or something like that, but it's flag football, so everybody's safe. Ain't gonna be no Ray Lewis hits going on out there. But we'll keep you guys posted with the next Ballin' for Peace event, because we want y'all to come out, man. It's everybody enjoys themselves, man, at Ballin' for Peace, and it's always for a great cause. So again, big shout out to H2O and the entire Ballin' for Peace staff. You guys put on another great event. Now, with that being said, some things we got to speak about. All right. Fight went down this weekend. The winner would become the undisputed champion of the world. Terrence Bud Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. Um, I had picked Errol Spence Jr. going into the fight, right? But then when I realized that Terrence Crawford had Eminem bringing him out, I didn't realize it until it was too late. Had I known that was going down, I would have went with Terrence Crawford based off of that alone, because you can't you get let out by Eminem rapping "Lose Yourself" and lose that fight. So once I seen that, I knew it was all bets was off. But he beat that boy ass. I'm sorry, y'all. Excuse my language, but Terrence Crawford beat Errol Spence Jr. to a bloody pulp. It was not even close. The first round, Spence won, but it was pretty much even. But then after that, Terrence Crawford put on a clinic, and it got really bad for Errol Spence Jr. And of course, ultimately, the fight got stopped. But Eric, talk to me about the fight. Do you even want to see a rematch?
Yeah, I'll say this. I had Spence as well in my predictions, but I was also on record as saying I thought this was a 50-50 fight, and I wouldn't be surprised if Crawford won. I think everyone, and we saw the comment earlier. I can't remember who it was that put it. Oh, Kevin Ford actually put it right here. I didn't see Crawford dominating in that fashion. I didn't imagine either
Anybody?
one of these fights. Right. I don't think I wasn't expecting either one of these fighters to dominate in that fashion. I expected it to be a back and forth fight with obviously Spence finding a way to win the later rounds and then ultimately win the fight. He was thoroughly dominated. He was outclassed in every way. It was beyond a boxing clinic. It almost looked like they weren't even on the same level or tier of fighter. It looked like one guy was clearly better than the other. Like if you were a casual fight fan and you just happened to be watching that night because of the hype around it, you would have thought that they didn't even belong in the same ring.
Yeah.
Bud Crawford was dominant. He is the first male boxer ever to be the unified champ in 2 different weight divisions because he has it at 140. He now has it at 147. Total of 8 belts. First man to ever do that in a 4-belt weight class in history of boxing. As far as a rematch, unless we get some sort of information that lets us know that Errol Spence was hurt or somehow limited going into this fight, I don't see what a rematch is going to change. Bud Crawford was faster than him, was sharper than him, looked more powerful than him. There was a point in the 3rd round after the knockdown. Knockdown in the 2nd round was a flash knockdown. I don't think Spence was hurt by it. But there was a point in the 3rd round where it looked like Spence tried to like tie him up, and Crawford literally just pushed him back like nothing. Like he was like as if Spence was the smaller man. When coming into this fight, we were all led to believe that Spence was the bigger guy and he would kind of wear Crawford down. He never wore him down. He never did anything that Crawford wasn't ready for. He didn't even listen to his corner as well. I thought his corner gave him some good advice throughout the fight, but he really wasn't listening. So I don't think anything changes again unless we hear that Spence had got hurt in training, or maybe the detached retina that he had suffered 2 years ago is still an issue. I don't know what changes in this fight. Now, Spence is already on record as saying, not only congratulating Bud, but saying he would like to do it again. But if they're fighting again at 147, again, you're going to have to give me something to make me think that it's going to be different the next time around. So you better tell me that you broke your hand at some point during sparring, or that you suffered an injury that nobody knew about. Because a rematch to me, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't see where rematch for who like does. If I'm Spencer Crawford, yeah, I'm not even thinking about a rematch. If I'm Errol Spence Jr., I'm probably not even thinking about a rematch because it was not close. And realistically, do I want to see that again? No, because Errol Spence Jr. might get hurt worse than he did. So no, I don't want to see that again. Let me shout out a couple people in the comments. Deontay Pfeiffer and Poole. I gotta shout them out because they was in here early in the group chat dropping comments. So I gotta send y'all some love for that. We definitely appreciate y'all, and we appreciate y'all staying up late and rocking out with us. Where does Terrence Crawford go from here? Because I seen him and Charlo was going back and forth. They was talking. I don't know.
First of all, Charlo ain't fought in 2 years. So until Charlo does, which to me speaks to the hypocrisy sometimes of boxing and all these governing bodies, because Charlo is holding all those belts at 154, but he's not fighting anybody. So it's like, how are we still crowning you as the champion and saying, oh yeah, you the undisputed champion at 154? You ain't fought in 2 years.
Yeah.
So I don't we're not even entertaining that. For Crawford, it gets tough here. It gets really tough. And this is one of the downsides sometimes too with boxing. We wait so long for the big fight. This happened with Pacquiao and Floyd too. We wait so long for the big fight that once it happens, and if there's a clear-cut winner, there's nobody else left to fight. When Floyd beat Pacquiao, even though Floyd was older, there was nobody else left to fight in welterweight. Everybody else was too young. They weren't experienced enough. They weren't on the level to get that fight against Floyd. So same thing now with Bud. Where does he really go at 147? Like the consensus is going to be to fight Boots Ennis out of Philly next. Boots is probably going to be the number 1 contender at this point, but is Boots ready? Boots is only, I think, 24, 25 years old. I don't know if he's ready for that type of fight. Yeah. So if you're Boots and you're his camp, maybe you say, yeah, let's take the fight because we know it's going to be a big bag attached to this. Yeah. But you also don't want to take the fight too early in your career where then it hurts you long term.
I think so. I guess the closest would be Canelo and Mayweather, where kind of got souped up to like, yeah, you can jump in the ring with Mayweather right now, and then we saw you could not jump in the ring with Mayweather right now. Canelo, he just wasn't ready for a legit veteran who's also top 5 all time. I think this would, it'd be a similar situation to that, where I don't think he's ready for a fight of that magnitude. So it's a tough one.
The biggest difference, though, I think with the Canelo situation was Canelo had like a very extensive amateur career. Canelo was fighting professionally when he was 15. Mm-hmm. So when you look back, when Canelo fought Floyd, Canelo already had almost like 40 fights under his belt.
Yes.
Boots isn't resume isn't there, but also the other part for Canelo was we already knew Canelo was going to keep moving up in weight. Canelo was like, even when he fought Floyd, you could see how much bigger he was than Floyd.
Yeah.
He wasn't a natural welterweight. Canelo was already looking like a middleweight who was fighting at welterweight. So you already knew no matter what happened with Canelo, he was never going to stay at 147. This is Boots' weight class, though. Boots is going to stay at 147. And if he takes that loss to Crawford, then again, it becomes the whole, all right, where do we go from here now? Because you already got the loss. If it's similar to Spence, we damn sure don't want to see a rematch. And now you're just stuck on this hamster wheel of like, now I can't get the big fight anymore because I fought him too early. It
Yeah.
might be best for Boots to wait a year or two, get a little bit more seasoning, get a little more experience in the ring. I
Yep.
think Boots' last fight, I could be wrong. If somebody, whoever's watching, if I'm wrong, call me out on this. I think his last fight wasn't even a 12 rounder. I think it was a 10 rounder. So
Oh,
again,
yes.
he might need a little bit more experience, and he might wait 2 years. And in 2 years, it might benefit him as well, because in 2 years, you're looking at Bud Crawford, who's probably 37, and you hope he's slowing down. I don't know if he will be, but you hope.
Yeah, keep your fingers crossed, because from what we just saw on Saturday night, it don't look like he's slowing down anytime soon. But let's get into this doc, man. Y'all been calling for, y'all asked for us to do our homework. You asked me to do some homework because Eric had already seen the documentary, but I
I
definitely,
saw it when it first came out. So a lot of this is a refresher for me as well.
yeah. So I went in and I watched it. Actually, I watched it the night after we got off the air, and I have to say I loved it. Very well put together. I learned a lot. I had to actually go back and start going through the numbers, because I'm like, because I didn't, at the time when the WNBA first started. I'm not even thinking that Cynthia Cooper is 34 years old, her rookie season in the WNBA, and is dominating in the WNBA the way she dominated for a couple of years. So I'm not even realizing that. I'm just, you just watching it. You think it's the inaugural season. You just assume everybody's young, you know what I'm saying, fresh out of college. No, Cynthia Cooper was 34, dominating in the league. Cheryl Miller, oh my goodness. I mean, I already knew how amazing she was, but I hadn't really seen much footage of her on the court. But incredible. Shout out to the McGee twins as well. I mean, what can I say, man? They dominated that. You want to talk about a dynasty? That team was a dynasty.
Yeah, they were a dynasty. They changed college basketball. They were way ahead of their time, though. Just imagine if the women of Troy, if that team had been together and had that type of success 10 years later, like at the height of like ESPN, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you look at all the things that happened with UConn and Gino Ariama, and with the women Huskies, the USC team was probably better than all those UConn teams that he ever had. It's just it was during a time when they didn't get the same publicity and people weren't paying attention to the women's game.
Yes.
Uh, Cheryl Miller, as you mentioned, not only gets a lot of props here, she got a lot of props on the 30 for 30 on Reggie Miller, because
Yes.
people forget, again, she gets injured. Shout out to Hoop Baller Scoop for the details there in the comment. But she was considered, again, the best women's player in the game. And Reggie was definitely living in her shadow for most of his, youth, teenage years, and even early pro career. Because early on in his pro career, he got compared to his sister a lot because she was such a great player. So they were
Yes.
way ahead of their time. They were a team that this documentary does a great job of highlighting how much talent was there and how great this team was. And again, if this team had been assembled in the early 90s at the height of like ESPN, we would be talking about this as not only the greatest women's team ever, but the greatest basketball team ever in terms of college teams.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing like it. Um, like they had a big four on the court, like with the McGee twins and Cheryl Miller and Cynthia Cooper. They had a big four, and nothing was coming close to that. Nothing was coming close to that. They completely dominated college basketball during their tenure at USC. It's crazy because one of the parts that stood out was how Cynthia Cooper almost wound up leaving. and not coming back because and a lot of us where we from, we go through it where sometimes you might not be able to go to school because you got to get that job and start kicking in to help your family, and because of that, we almost didn't get to see one of the most amazing basketball careers, period, man or woman, because Cynthia Cooper, what she was able to do on a collegiate level, overseas, then coming back in the WNBA, that's a hell of a career, man. You got to tip your hat to her. It sucks so much that Cheryl Miller got hurt, because she would have been in that inaugural season with Cynthia Cooper had she not, been injured and had a career-ending injury, which is crazy because now you be back up in a couple of months from that type of injury
Right.
with how technology is. But shit, she would have been one that she probably would have still been playing ball, and she would have been in the WNBA as well. And we could have seen that. I would have loved to see Cheryl Miller playing the WNBA. I think something like that would definitely have boosted them ratings. Like if you had got that, like if Cheryl Miller and those women played now, and you got that from college going into the WNBA, oh man, that would
Cheryl,
be crazy.
Cheryl Miller, in a way, was robbed because, as you mentioned, not only the advancements of modern medicine and how she would have been able to recover now from that type of injury, but
Mm-hmm.
because that injury at that time was so devastating, she never really pushed the issue to keep her playing career going. Remember, she
Yeah.
got the job on TV, and like she kind of like fell back from it. And then when the women's dream team came into play, Cheryl Miller, that would have been another great opportunity for her
Yes.
to be on the women's dream team, which then led to the inaugural season of the WNBA.
Mm-hmm.
But hindsight is 2020, and again, at that time, there was no WNBA in sight. Nobody knew that was coming down the pipeline. Nobody knew there was going to be a dream team coming down the pipeline.
Yeah.
But again, timing is everything, bro. Because if the women of Troy, if that team is assembled, like I said, a couple years later, and with the advancements in modern medicine, Cheryl Miller would have been on the dream team. She would have been in the WNBA, and we would have had legit conversations about her being the greatest women basketball player ever.
Yeah. And I mean, to be honest with you, you can still have that conversation just based off of the numbers that she was putting up in college. You could still make that. And then she had what she had was it in high school? She had a 92-point game, or so was it?
Mm-hmm.
No, was it higher than 92? What was it, 92? But
I think she had a 90-point game in college.
yeah, whatever it was, that's crazy in itself. You could still make that argument. But yeah, I would have loved to see that. But it was dope, seeing the McGee's twins, you know, their journey and what they went to, and still going into the league. You know, them having a son who's an NBA champion, multiple time
Yeah,
NBA champion, and JaVale McGee. You know what I'm saying? So that's the basketball lineage. There is dope as well. Um, so yeah, man. But all in all, man, I thought it was a great documentary. And coming from someone who shoots documentaries as well, I thought it was shot amazing. I love going back. I talking about Pat Summit in the documentary. I just thought it was a dope documentary on so many different levels. So thank you guys for putting me on, because I hadn't even seen, and I got HBO up there, but I just sometimes you just don't see everything that's up there. So thank you guys for putting me on to that, because I really enjoyed that documentary.
that's a fact. That was a great recommendation by you guys. We appreciate that one, man.
I gotta keep sending them in, man. When if y'all got stuff that y'all want us to check out and then come back on the show and talk about, please, just y'all know what to do, man. Y'all be hitting us up in the comments. Y'all on IG keeping us on point. Y'all on the YouTube channel keeping us on point. So whenever y'all got suggestions, y'all want us to check out stuff and talk about it, please just drop those comments and let us know. And we will. I'm gonna put up these next couple of comments in regards to the doc now. Shout out to Hoop Baller Scoop. Kyrie Thompson, I see y'all. Imani, Hoops Nation, Pooh, I see you. Hype Baller Hoops, I see y'all out there. Janetta Johnson, I see you. Shout out to all of you guys. Courtney, what's up, man? I know you was excited about because Courtney was on the YouTube commenting like, yeah, when we going back, because we gotta talk about this Troy documentary. So big shout out to Courtney. I'm gonna throw the rest of these comments up on the screen so everybody at home can see them as well. Yeah, we're gonna get to all of them. Let's go. Hoopball Scoop. Here another one.
Nah, Hoopball Scoop, I definitely want to give you your flowers and your applause, bro, because you've been showing us a lot of love. You include us in all the posts. We talked about this too before on Facebook, man. So you know it's tough getting all questions and comments, but we try to get all to them, man.
Yeah, facts. Let me throw this last one up from Kyrie. Cheryl Miller is the female overall GOAT, and Cynthia is the WNBA GOAT. Cheryl needs her own doc. Absolutely. I love that comment. I definitely agree with that. You know what? I know we're supposed to go to the NBA next, but I'm gonna go to the NFL because I see these comments up here. And Eric, as the Colts fan on the show, I'm gonna let you take this comment from Imani right
Very,
here.
very simple.
He wants out. He told your boy Ursay, I want out. I want to be traded.
That's
What's up?
cool. That's cool. Listen, I tell my boss all the time the days I want off, that don't mean that's the days I'm gonna get off. But uh he's not getting traded. And I understand Jonathan Taylor's frustration. He's upset by the comments that Jim Irsay recently made in terms of the running backs not being paid their value. I get all that. But Jonathan Taylor's still under contract for at least 2 more seasons. Actually, no, 1 more season because he was a second round pick. He wasn't a first round pick. So he's under contract for 1 more season. And his frustration isn't with the Colts as a team. It's the frustration with I want to be paid, which I think he will be paid. The Colts will take care of him. But they're not going to trade him. If you're the Colts, what am I rushing to trade you for? You're my best offensive player. I got a rookie quarterback coming in who's going to need as many weapons as possible. We're still trying to build this thing up into a contender. So we're not going to trade our running back unless there is some crazy offer that somebody's willing to give. But again, the state of the running back position is such that no one is giving up multiple first round picks for a running back. So I don't have to trade you. And Jonathan Taylor doesn't really have much leverage here. I like Jonathan Taylor a lot. I hope he's still with the Colts when we plan on going to that game in week 3, Trip. I hope he's still there. But I don't think he gets traded. I think they work this thing out and he'll just be disgruntled for a little bit and then they'll figure it out.
Yo, we might have, you know what? Because we shout out to the Colts and to the Ravens. Eric and myself, we going to that game. So if man, I'm letting y'all know right now, we're gonna be at the game. If y'all want to pull up and come to the game, man, let us know. We'll let y'all know. We'll link up. You know what I'm saying? Watch the game, get up. Get in with the people, man. If y'all in the DMV area, if y'all down there, or if y'all just want to go down there for that game, we definitely going to that game because I'm a Ravens fan. Eric is a Colts fan, so we had to go see that game. As soon as I seen that game on the schedule, I hit up Eric like, "Yo, I'll be down there. What we doing?" So
that's a fact. We out there, and you know what? We love the interaction with you guys. Let us know what games y'all gonna be at week in, week out, because you know what I'm saying. If it's close enough, if we in New York, that might be a game we might have to pull up to.
Oh, facts. If anything at the Barclays Center or the Garden, y'all just gotta let us know. That's our second homes.
Let us know where y'all. Yeah, let us know where y'all at, man. That way we try to pull up to the games y'all at.
Facts. Let me go to Hoops Nation's comment. What do y'all make of the 49ers QB situation? Everybody's injury prone. That's what I make of it. I think the 49ers are one of the best teams in the NFL. I think if Brock Purdy is healthy, I think they can be a top 3 team in the NFL because that defense is what it is, and all of the weapons that they have, with Debo, Brandon Ayuk, Kittle, McCaffrey, and Brock Purdy stepping up the way he did all of last season. Literally up until he got hurt, Brock Purdy was torching everybody. Every defense that stood in front of him, he was getting W after W after W, but everybody's hurt. I don't know who's going to start the season. I don't know who's going to finish the season. I don't know. I can't say because all those guys are hurt and really coming back off of injury. I want to see what Trey Lance is going to be able to do. Because I'm not sure exactly how long Brock Purdy how much time he's gonna miss. But they got to get healthy. It's crazy when you was down to the 4th string quarterback. So they got to get healthy. That's their issue with the quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's really the main thing. The intrigue there with the quarterback situation is there is a lot of money and draft capital that was invested in Trey Lance. So Trey Lance is going to get every opportunity to try to be the starter of this team. But the roster is Super Bowl ready. And if Trey Lance isn't ready, if Trey Lance needs more time to be ready, then you got to go with Brock Purdy. And then that's where the dilemma really comes in, because if Brock Purdy gets you back to another NFC championship game, it becomes very difficult to hand the keys over to Trey Lance. So
Yeah.
I think you got to go with Brock Purdy. I think you got to go with the guy who was undefeated as a starter last year. I'm not counting the Philly game because he went out of that game very early.
Mhm.
And I still believe that the Niners could have beat the Eagles. If you look back at the first half of that game was 14-7. Josh Johnson has a bad turnover right before halftime that allows the Eagles to go up 21-7. And then also we put that game away. But the 49er defense was tough. There was a Devontae Smith catch that led to the first touchdown that was not a catch. And the 49er defense held their own. So if you have your quarterback who was just 7-0 as a starter, 8-0 as a starter, I
Mhm.
think you were in great position to possibly win that game. And so if you're the 49ers, you got to go with Brock Purdy. You gotta kind of let him do his thing until he shows he's not capable of it, and then you maybe transition over.
Exactly. Absolutely. Hold on, Eric. I got to go back. Ron in the comments getting wild. Let me go back and put Ron's comment back up here. Cheryl Miller was ahead of her time. She revolutionized the game. A 6'2" forward who could shoot from the outside, was a rebounding machine, and could run and jump. She was a show. She was a show woman. Absolutely. Everything you said
Of
about
course.
Cheryl Miller is facts. We agree
Yeah, that's
1,000%. That.
that's facts. I 1000% agree. Like I said earlier, she was way ahead of her time.
Mhm.
When you look at some of the women players now and the notoriety they get because of social media and because of all the news outlets, Cheryl Miller was better than a lot of these women even now. It's just that she played in an era where there wasn't much coverage of the women's game.
Yeah.
ESPN was still fairly young. There was no social media. She played on the West Coast. We can't forget that during that time there was an East Coast bias when it came to news. The news focused on what was going on the East Coast and really slept on it, because what was going on the West Coast a lot of times took place after all the news had been submitted.
Yeah.
USC games, USC games, even now to this day, come on later at night. On the East Coast, those scores ain't even been submitted yet. So a lot of people didn't know about Cheryl Miller just because of where she played.
Yeah. And she was, they were, I think, what was it they sent it that? Because that was around the same time with the Showtime Lakers, and it was like the baby Showtime or something like that.
Yeah,
So they were getting, that coverage of just, but yeah, but that time difference, you know what I mean? And you got to think, we're not, right now, we're in the internet age, we're in the social media age. So if something's going down in LA, we're going to know about it instantaneously. But at that time, you had to wait for that word to go across the country. And that 3 hour time difference, if you even got a glimpse of what was going on in the West Coast and you was on the East Coast, you know what I'm saying? It was going to be very small, and whatever you got was going to be about the Lakers, basically, or whatever pro team
right,
was there. Yeah, a women's college basketball team, no matter how dominant at that time, was more than likely not going to be the headline story.
right.
So
That's what I'm saying. Like we agree with you, Ron, but we got to remember too that the time. Right now, it's easy to look back and wonder why wasn't she more glamorized and why wasn't she getting more attention. But
yeah,
that the women's game was always inferior to the men's game at that time. People just weren't paying attention.
yeah. I mean, I had to throw Janetta Johnson's comment up there. Cheryl Miller was an animal. I always heard of her, but seeing some clips and hearing her story, I love her more. And remember, she did a lot of work for TNT for years. Yes, and she was respected highly amongst the top male athletes in the NBA. The level of respect that they have for Cheryl Miller, you know what I'm saying, it was like they had for NBA legends. You know, it was like that for Cheryl Miller. I love Cheryl Miller commentating. I loved her as a coach, as well. So again, we got a lot of love for Cheryl Miller here. All right. She's
That's a
like she,
fact.
we've been singing her praise for years too. So it's not her greatness isn't like new to us. You know what I mean? So we definitely love Cheryl Miller and everything that she does. Let me go to Pooh's comment because we got to get into that too. That was on the rundown as well. Jalen Ramsey undergoing surgery on the meniscus in his left knee. He says he's gonna be back early. I was just reading that actually earlier today that he says he's going to be back early. But again, we won't know exactly until he's able to get on the field and test his knee out, test the legs out, and see how his body is going to react to the surgery. And he's not even going to be up and about for at least a couple of weeks before he can actually get on the field and start even trying to get back to where he was as being, I guess, one of the top three cornerbacks in football. I really did want to see him on the Dolphins because if you can get the defense to match what they got on offense, Miami could be a problem.
They got a really good defense. Initial reports is he won't be back probably until the end of October because he's going to be put on that unable to perform list.
Yeah.
So which would at least keep him out for the first 6 weeks of the season. But that defense is really good. Bradley Chubb, who they got from the Broncos last year. You got Xavier Howard on the other side defensively. They got some really good pieces defensively there. And Jalen Ramsey I thought, put him over the top just as, an elite shutdown corner. He's going to be fine. I think he'll be good. He may not be really himself until December. He's going to probably need a couple games under his belt to really get his legs back under him because there's a leg injury. So it's going to affect his conditioning. It's going to affect his ability to really work out and be ready to get on the field. But when he is fully healthy, which we think will happen at some point this season, he is going to elevate this defense and he's going to make them a very good team.
Absolutely. Let me go to Janetta's comment. Do we like Dak Prescott's interception guarantee? I think Dak Prescott should focus on first and foremost being healthy. Because he has to actually be on the field. Unless he was saying he's going to be hurt and out, and then that's how he's going to guarantee that he doesn't get an outrageous number of interceptions. But Dak got to show improvement. It's time. You can't keep giving this man a pass. He's gonna have to get a playoff. He's gonna have to get more than a playoff win this season. I'm tired of the Cowboys fans. Every year, this is their year. The America's team. They every we going back. This is our year, and your quarterback ain't been doing.
We them boys.
They ain't been doing much of nothing the last couple of decades. So you're gonna have to step it up, Dak. I don't want to hear no guarantees. I want you to go play football.
Nah, shout out to Janetta. I love the guarantee. He's going to throw less interceptions because they're going to run the ball more. Because when you look back at last year, when they were at their best with Cooper Rush as their quarterback, they were running the ball almost 30 times a game. So I have a feeling that they're going to get back to that offense, more ground and pound, let the offensive line push guys around, set up more play action pass, and Dak's interception numbers will come down. But it won't be because he's going to be a better quarterback. I just think they're going to limit some of the playbook, especially early in the season. They're going to go more run heavy early in the season, take the ball out of his hands a little bit, play action pass, and rely on the defense. So he'll still throw his fair share of interceptions. He just won't be in the 20s. He won't be leading the league in interceptions.
Plus, the problem with Dallas is, they don't realize when Dak was at his height, you had Amari Cooper on the other side over there. Remember how Dak was another example, and we always say this, Eric, of how a legitimate number one wide receiver can change things for you. And we literally saw that from the time Amari Cooper got there for that season and a half, when Dak, which is the reason why he even got the contract he got. He should be thanking Amari Cooper for that. But when you had those guys one on each side, and you add CeeDee Lamb to the mix, but now you don't have that. You don't have two star wide receivers. See what the Eagles got. You see what the Dolphins got. You don't have that anymore for Dak, and he's a quarterback that needs that. So he's gonna throw interceptions. It just is what it is because they didn't bolster up the wide receiver corps. They didn't bring in none of the big name wide receivers that was out there this season. They didn't bring none of the mid tier wide receivers that was out there this season, and they didn't draft any of the top wide receivers that were available in this year's draft. So I don't really see where that much of a difference comes in. I know you say they want to run the football more and that'll help, but I just don't see it. I don't see it with that. He's going to have to show him proof for me just because I've seen this story over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, the interception numbers, I think, are just going to come down just because the play calling is going to be a little different. And again, I'm not saying he's going to be a better quarterback, But when you take the ball out of your quarterback's hands a little bit and limit his opportunities and give him safer options, there'll be a lot more dump downs. There'll be a lot more quick pass game because Mike McCarthy's taking over the play calling. And if you remember when he was with the Packers, that was kind of a staple of their game with Aaron Rodgers. Get it out quick, just let the receivers run after the catch. So I think that's why the interception numbers are going to come down. Offensively, CeeDee Lamb is a really good receiver. Michael Gallup should be completely healthy. He was rehabbing most of last year. They added Brandon Cooks. Who's a good slot receiver, but he does have to stay healthy. Brandon Cooks has had a lot of concussions in the league. But ultimately, for the Cowboys, I don't see them as a Super Bowl team. So when I say his numbers are going to come down, I don't mean like now that's going to make them better. I still think they are what they've been for the last 4 or 5 years. They're a good playoff team that can get to the second round of the playoffs. But when you play the elite teams in the NFC, which is what we've seen the last few years with Dak as quarterback, that's where they flame out in the second round of the playoffs. So if we had to do a quick rankings right now, Trip, like they're not better than Philly. They're not better than San Fran. I don't even think they're better than Seattle. I don't think they might probably on the same level as Minnesota. I don't know if they're really better than Detroit. Like they might be the 4th or 5th best team in the NFC East. I mean, in the NFC anyway.
Yeah. So that's why I said I've seen it before. I've heard it before. Get out there and just play football. Just go win games, man. That's the best. That's the best thing. Stop with all the guarantees. Guarantees are not for guys that don't have multiple playoff wins. Okay, so just focus on winning.
He might have multiple playoff wins. I gotta look back. He might have more than one playoff win.
I think it was just one.
Nah, they've been bumped in the second round a couple times. They got bumped in the second round. They got bumped in the second round this year. That was 49ers this year in the second round. Last year, remember the Dak sliding at the end of the game in the playoffs? Was that the first or the second round? Dak might have 2 playoff wins at this point.
Oh, my bad. Excuse me.
It ain't really saying much. I mean,
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Let's go to Hoop Baller Scoops question. Should the Cardinals consider sitting Kyler Murray? Well, he's hurt right now. I don't think he's not starting the season. I mean, if you're trying to tank, sit him. It is football, so you do get that. The worst record does automatically get the first pick in the draft. It's not like the NBA in that regard, where you got the lottery. When you get down to the bottom of the pecking order. So if you're trying to tank, then by all means, yeah. But if you're actually trying to win some games, I don't see why you would not play Kyler Murray.
I think they should sit him. Correct me if I'm wrong. His injury took place in December of last year. So just for him to be ready for opening day, I think you're rushing it.
No. He's not. I don't think he's supposed to start the season.
I was about to say, yeah. So if he's not starting the season, my point was that then we should seriously consider just sitting him in general. Like, what are we playing for? Even with Kyler Murray, you're probably still a last place team in that division. I think the Rams are going to be better with a healthy Matthew Stafford. I think the Seahawks are a legitimate playoff team. And we just said the 49ers are a legitimate Super Bowl contender. So where does that leave the Cardinals?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would say if he's coming back, if it's a situation where he's coming back after week 8, let's just say, maybe just sit him for the year. Listen, sometimes you got to tank. You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, I mean, the best move the Cardinals made all offseason was firing Cliff Kingsbury. So they didn't upgrade the roster. You know how I feel about Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah,
you already know. And it's not even personal. You just know how I feel about it. But they didn't do anything to really upgrade that roster. That was a bottom 5 defense last year already.
Yeah.
The running game didn't get any better either. So it's like, what are we asking Kyler Murray to come back to? Are we asking him to carry us to? Are we really thinking Kyler Murray's going to get us in contention to win 9 games and make the playoffs? You'd be lucky to win 5 games. Sit him. Just sit him.
You know what? Yeah, you might as well, and then try to get the number 1 pick because there's no weapons there anymore. So while you put him out there to get hurt again, because that's why he got hurt, because he was compensating for all of the injuries that they had on the offensive side of the football. So yeah, go ahead, sit him, man. Go ahead, and if you got take it up, take it up, man. Mike's Hoops page. What's up, Mike? Dolphins, contenders or pretenders? I'm going to say this is a contingency thing. All right, this is contingent on health. If they are healthy, and again, God bless Tua, because the punishment that young man took last season, I'm still nervous for him. But if you are telling me that Tua is going to stay healthy for the entire season, because what we saw from him when he was on the field, the numbers look very good. He was actually, and he did a lot better even than I thought he would do with two top receivers in Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. So I think that's the key. If Tua is going to stay healthy and Jalen Ramsey can come back with a decent enough time in the season to really work himself back into shape, then they're contenders. But if they're not healthy, no, they're pretenders.
Health is the biggest issue with the Dolphins. But since these are the only two options that Mike Hoop's page has presented us, I'm gonna go closer to pretenders. And here's why. I'm just saying the AFC, we already know who the big dog is. It's Kansas City Chiefs. Right after the
Facts.
Kansas City Chiefs, right after the Chiefs, you got Cincinnati, you got Buffalo. So I've already given you three teams that are better than the Dolphins. I think the Jets are better than the Dolphins right now with the addition of Aaron Rodgers. Talent wise, the Dolphins have a lot of talent, skill position guys, defensive side. But if you're asking me which quarterback do I trust more, Tua Tagovailoa or Aaron Rodgers, I'm gonna take Aaron Rodgers. And if we take it a step further, if Tua misses a significant amount of time, then you're going to Mike White, who was the backup quarterback for the Jets last year, who has been inconsistent himself. And at one point, they even benched him to go back to Joe Flacco, who was the third quarterback. So
Yeah.
if you're telling me those are your two best quarterbacks going against the future Hall of Famer and Aaron Rodgers with all the weapons they got, because the Jets now get Brees Hall back. They got Garrett Wilson, who's the offensive rookie of the year. They got CJ Azuma, who was the tight end with the Cincinnati Bengals. I like the Jets team and all the weapons they got on defense. We've talked all about Sauce before. You and I both are big Sauce fans. The Dolphins are probably the third best team in their own division. So if you're the third best team in your own division, I've got to lean more towards pretender, because now I can already name 4 or 5 teams better than you within your own conference.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, listen, I hope Tua can stay healthy so we can see to get a realistic idea of that team. But yeah, there are a lot of teams better. And shout out to Aaron Rodgers too for taking that pay cut. Now we don't only have to hear Tom Brady was the one that always took pay cuts and all of that. Now there's another quarterback that's done it, and he took a big pay cut, to help out the Jets, really over the next two seasons. So shout out to Aaron Rodgers for that.
It's crazy that he just got to New York and he was already willing to take a pay cut when he wasn't willing to do that in Green Bay. Remember, he signed a crazy contract with Green Bay and was like, nah, we don't need anybody else. He actually, let's not forget, his contract is what led to Devontae Adams getting traded.
Yeah.
They gave him the money, so they couldn't pay Devontae Adams. They had to trade him. And yeah, there was nothing left there. And also, too, we got to call out Tyreek Hill, because when Tyreek Hill left Kansas City, he made it seem as if Tua Tagovailoa was a better passer of the football than Patrick Mahomes. That comment has not aged well and hasn't even been a full year. And I want to say this too, Trip.
That was trolling at his best.
That was trolling at his best. Trip, I know you're a big Roll Tide fan. There's a couple Roll Tide guys on that Jet defense. All the headlines are going to be about Aaron Rodgers, but I think that Jet defense is going to be a very elite defense this year, starting with the guy that I love, Quinnen Williams. I think who's going to have a monster year.
Yes, and they locked him. They locked him up. Took care of him like they were supposed to. We've been speaking about the Jets defense, for a couple of months, going back to last football season. They have a great mixture of youth and veterans. And when they drafted Sauce Gardner, man, he's gonna be the one. He's taking them to a next level because not only is he elite at his position, he got to be top 5 right now at his position. If not higher. But the energy, the swag. This is why I'm actually, was when I heard they was going to be the team on Hard Knocks. That's why I was excited, because I really want to see Sauce Gardner. I like this Jets team. Um, I think they're good enough to win the division. I'm be honest with you. I think they can. I know Buffalo is going to be right there in the mix, but I think the Jets got a really good shot because they have leveled up so much at the quarterback position, which is probably the most important position. Just going from, and no disrespect, to the young boys, but they ain't Zach Wilson, and I like Mike White, but they ain't Aaron Rodgers. So
Nah.
you've leveled up so much, when you add a quarterback like that to with the weapons that they already had on offense, you got to love that for them. And then we just spoke about the defense, so I think they can win that division. Don't be surprised if
Yeah,
they.
yeah. Aaron Rodgers, though he's older, let's not forget, like he was just a back-to-back MVP a season ago,
Mhm.
right? And what Aaron Rodgers really gives you is a quarterback that won't ever allow you to beat yourself in a game. Even if
Yeah,
he's not his best, he's not going to have a 3 interception game. He's not going to kill you in that way. He'll still allow the defense to be the defense, and he'll make enough plays to win. So that's why, like when we talked about the Dolphins question, that's why I like the Jets more than them, because I know week in week out, even if Aaron Rodgers don't throw for 3 touchdowns and
yeah,
300 yards, he damn sure ain't throwing for 3 interceptions every week. He's gonna allow you to be in the game. And again, I think Brees Hall is gonna have a monster season because Garrett Wilson is gonna get so much attention as their
hmm
number one receiver that Brees Hall, the numbers he was putting up before he got injured last year, I wouldn't be surprised if Brees Hall is a guy who runs for like 1,600 yards this year and has a monster season.
Look for Brees Hall to go early in fantasy football. Oh, let me tell
I,
you this.
I see. I should. That's why I just thought about. I should never said it because go ahead, Trip. I know where you're gonna go with it. Man.
Listen, guys, fantasy football is going to be starting back up soon. We have been doing the Real Fans Real Talk Fantasy Football League for gotta be maybe 10 years now. But if there is anybody who does want to join the fantasy football team, DM us, comment. You can throw it in the comments here on YouTube, wherever. Just get in the comments and just tell us that you would like to be a part of the Real Fans Real Talk Fantasy Football League. Of course, the winner gets to make a guest appearance and host Real Fans Real Talk with us. So if you nice at fantasy football and you nice at talking sports and you want to get onto the show, best way to do it is to join the Fantasy Football League, completely free. We don't charge nobody to be in the league. And again, if you do win, you get to come on the show and you get to talk your talk. On our fantasy football special. So y'all holler at us. We're gonna be talking about fantasy football for the next couple of, realistically for the next couple of months, because football season is about to start up. So if you do want to rock with us, just again hit us up, send a message, and we'll put you down into the football league. One more injury before we move on. Joe Burrow, Carter off the field. He is going to miss some time. Uh, I, this is definitely, depending on when he comes back, it's going to hurt the Bengals' chances of getting back to the playoffs. We said I want to say we said it again last week. Joe Burrow's the only quarterback who has gone toe to toe with with my guy Patrick Mahomes out in Kansas City, and the Bengals have beaten the Chiefs more than the Chiefs has beaten them with Joe Burrow there. So you cannot afford to fall in the rankings because it'll be hard to play catch up, especially in a very tough AFC North division. So when you got Lamar Jackson coming back, and now they've added Odell Beckham Jr. and Kyrie, we're gonna get into your Odell Beckham comment in a minute. But with that tandem there, the Browns, now we see Deshaun Watson going to be going into his second season with the Browns, and that offense, Nick Chubb, who's an animal, vision is tough. So if you're telling me you're gonna miss Joe Burrow for half the season, for the first half of the season, it might be tough to play catch up at that point. So, I wish him a speedy recovery, but he's going to be out for a little while.
Yeah, when I first heard about the injury, I was scared that it might be something longer than just a calf strain or something more severe than a calf strain, I should say. But you're absolutely right, Trip. This is one of them things that if they aren't able to at least tread water for those first 4 to 6 weeks, they could be playing catch up the rest of the year, and it could hurt them to make the playoffs because the division is tough. You expect the Browns to be better. We expect the Ravens to be better.
Mhm.
We talked about the other teams in the AFC, and you also don't know how this injury will linger as the season goes on because you
Yep.
got the calf strain. Just because you're telling me, oh, he should be ready to go in 6 to 8 weeks, all right. But what's the chance of re-injury now? What's the chance
Yes.
that he strains this again, or for trying to compensate for a calf strain, you do something else that's worse? Remember a few years ago when Mahomes had like some ankle injuries and it kept coming up throughout the season, and he was never really the same that year. So for Joe Burrow, you hope he has a speedy recovery because this Bengals team has legitimate Super Bowl aspirations and they are a Super Bowl contender, but it's only that way if Joe Burrow is healthy.
Facts. 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 So yeah, they're gonna have to, again, because I'm not ever for guys getting injured. Like I want my team to beat your team at their best because I don't want to have no excuses. So I'm always for guys staying healthy. I don't like seeing when guys, especially when we talking about star players getting hurt like that. So definitely wishing Joe Burrow a speedy recovery. Kyrie, let me throw your comment up there on the screen now. Odell, no real limitations at Ravens camp. Can OBJ be Baltimore's number one wide receiver? Well, let me say this: it does not take much to be Baltimore's number one wide receiver. So yes, especially not seeing a couple of days ago, Rashad Bateman is hurt again. I mean, none of those guys on Odell's level when he's at 60%. None of the wide receivers that they have on the 60% Odell Beckham Jr. level. So he was already automatically going to be the number one wide receiver going into this thing. Now, if you're saying the number one receiver, now you got to have some competition because my main man Mark Andrews is out there as well. But as far as wide receivers go, come on, man, y'all seen the Ravens wide receivers the past couple of years. Odell Beckham is by far the number one wide receiver on the field.
He's gonna be wide receiver number one. That's without a doubt happening. I think Odell played this smart. Odell was ready to come back last year in December. We talked about it plenty of times, Trip, and
Mm-hmm.
he held out and it didn't work out, and he waited, so he got a little extra recovery time. Mark Andrews is going to be the number one target, but that's
Yes.
more to do with the relationship and the just the time he's already spent with Lamar. I mean, he's played several seasons with Lamar, so there's a guy who Lamar can trust, and it's no different than Mahomes and Kelsey, where Mahomes throws to Kelsey more than he throws to the wide receivers. But I think Odell is going to do phenomenal things for this offense. You cannot single cover Odell Beckham Jr. I
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't care what you got to say. Last time I saw Odell Beckham Jr. on the field, he was the number one receiver for the Rams. He was better than Cooper Kupp. And if
Yeah.
you want to debate that, we can have that debate. He was better than Cooper Kupp. He was getting all the attention on the field. He was the
Mhm.
guy that everybody was shifting coverage towards. So he's going to do the same thing with the Ravens. Mark Andrews is probably going to be the guy who has a big season for them. I'm giving away too many fantasy tips right
I'm
now,
about to
Trip.
say because now you're giving them a
Too
tight
many
end. You
fantasy
just
tips.
gave them a
Yeah.
running back. Now they got a tight end. Come on, man. You can't give away
And,
all.
and right, and Mark Andrews is always their red zone favorite target. He's always the
Exactly.
number one guy in the red zone.
Come on, man. You know I know. Where my Ray? Come on, man. You see what we doing back here, man. You see the Ravens back there, man. You know how. Come on now. But yeah, man. I'm so looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to Eric is going down. Listen, bro. I'm telling you right now. Don't start nothing in the stands. All right. Do not start nothing in the stands when we get to this game.
Listen,
I'm just letting you know right now.
yo,
You
I'm
gonna wear
gonna
your
be.
coat?
Listen, yeah. Now the only question I've been having is because I do have a Jonathan Taylor jersey, but now I'm like, with everything that's going on, it's like, man,
Oh
I
no.
want no, but I definitely want to get an Anthony Richardson joint. I ain't gonna lie. I wanted him to stay with 15
Okay.
because I maybe this is inappropriate, but I thought AR-15 would have been a really cool nickname for him if he would have stood with the 15. He's going with number 5 though.
Not a good name for him. Okay, we're trying to.
I had the nickname for him and everything. It was gonna be AR-15, but he's going with number 5.
Remember, what's his name? Karolinko was AK-47.
Right.
That's my guy right there, man.
Right. See what I'm saying? See where I'm going with it?
Oh my goodness, man. I can't wait for that game. Let me throw up let me go to Wayne's question. Shout out to Wayne Johnson. Have y'all reached out to Teresa Witherspoon to come back on? I know people was asking to get a good interview with her about her career. It's funny. She played with Cheryl Miller on the USA team. Yes, I have already reached out to Teresa Witherspoon. So we are working on it. Hopefully we can get that. We'll get that done before the summer is out. But yes, and again, yo, man, we really appreciate y'all, getting on us, man, because y'all keep us motivated to do what we do every week. Y'all dropping them comments asking, so we definitely, we trying to get the people on the show that y'all want to get on the show. If you guys have mentioned them to us, trust we've reached out to them. And now it's just a matter of us locking in some dates, so we working for y'all. We got it. We hear y'all, and we're gonna continue to do our best to bring the guests on the show that y'all want to see. So man, y'all just keep rocking with us, keep supporting us, and we're gonna continue to do what we do for you guys as well. We're gonna return that love. Hoop ball or scoop. Let me see what we got here. Should Bronny James still play for USC this season? If you don't know, Bronny went into cardiac arrest a couple of days ago. He is home now. He is doing much better. So I'm assuming that's where this question is coming from. Eric, you want to take it?
Yeah. There was an unfortunate event that took place. He went into cardiac arrest, and thankfully, he was able to recover. And we saw the videos of him playing piano and out with his family. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to pretend to be a doctor. So all I can say is, if he gets clearance, then yes, he should play. We got to remember that at that age, 17, 18 years old, he he has that young ignorance right now. And that's not a bad thing. We have all experienced it when you're that age. And if he gets the clearance, I think it would be tough to keep him off the court, because this is a young man who's worked very hard to have
Yes.
this opportunity to play at USC. And the dad in me would say, let's be cautious. Let's sit out a season. Let's figure it out. But remembering what I was like at 17, 18 years old, you couldn't tell me nothing.
Facts.
And I would not want to rob this young man of his opportunity to play at USC, to live out his dream, and then potentially get to the next level, which is the NBA. So I'll just say that if a doctor gives him clearance, I think we should all be okay with that decision,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of ugliness that takes place when it comes to Bronny because of his last name.
Facts.
You got a lot of grown men and women who are trying to tell LeBron and his wife Savannah how they should be raising their son and what you should do with him. Like, listen, man, none of us are in that situation. None of us in that position.
Yeah.
If he gets the clearance and he wants to play, allow him to play.
Yeah. I mean, listen. Fortunately for Bronny, if it is a situation, and I truly hope it is not where he can't play. He's doing the gaming right now, so he's. I mean, and then obviously, his last name is is James. He is LeBron James, so he'll be good. But if you a hooper, man, you want to hoop. And if the doctor clears him to play and he wants to play, then I think we need to support that and let that young man go out and live his dreams. If his dream is to go to the NBA, this is the first step on that journey. So let him go, let him do his thing, and again, let's support that man. He's worked hard. These past couple of years to put himself in a position to where he's projected to be a lottery pick. You know what I mean? So let that young man, continue to build on that if he's able to play. Now, if he's not, again, then that's different. And I don't think in a million years that if he wasn't, LeBron is gonna be like, nah, man, you're gonna have to go play. You know what I mean? So it wouldn't even matter anyway. But yeah, if he's cleared, let that young man go play. Let him do his thing. What's the problem?
Right.
You know what
And
I mean?
there was a young man, I don't have his name right now, but I had, during the whole Bronny situation, the things I was reading, there's a young man on the USC team currently who also had cardiac arrest last summer
Mm,
while working out with the team. And again, team doctors eventually cleared him. They figured out what the issue was. He played his freshman year, no issues, no medication required, and he's been fine. So again, if they get the medical advice, and as you highlighted, Trip, it's LeBron James.
Facts.
This ain't no rinky dink doctor who is evaluating Bronny.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? This is going to
You
be
can
the best of the best.
you go back in the game. It's not that.
Yeah, you talk about the best of the best in that profession who are going to be evaluating Bronny and determining if he's ready to play. If they determine, yo, you know what, this is an isolated incident and he's good to go, let him play.
Facts. One more basketball topic, because I know we getting ready to get it, because we in overtime right now. I don't mind if y'all keep sending in the comments, we'll keep rocking out for a little while. But I do want to talk about Jaylen Brown. Congratulations. He is officially the highest paid player in basketball. But I think what's more important than that is the statements that he made at the press conference when he was talking about the contract and what he would like to do, and he was talking about bringing Black Wall Street to Boston. I absolutely love that mentality, especially in a place like Boston, where you still got some people that you know they got issues with other people for no reason other than the color of their skin. So I love that type of talk. We need to be out here, teaching people how to build generational wealth, teaching financial literacy. So if Jaylen Brown, if that's one of his goals, I completely support that. I commend him for that, for wanting to go out in the community and do the work that's needed. I love seeing people that have made it looking to give back and bring the next person up.
Listen, I 1000% agree with you, and I can't say it better myself. Jaylen Brown, kudos to him for not only getting a contract, but then also having a mindset of what he wants to do with that money. That it is generational wealth. It is life altering money, and I am very happy to hear his comments about what he plans to do.
Facts. Oh, with that being said, let me say this. I want to thank you guys again for supporting us every week, keeping up with us, whether we on the road or we on live with you guys. We're gonna be back next week. We'll be back to our regular Sunday schedule. But in the meantime, make sure that you guys are following us on all our social media: Instagram, Twitter at Real Fan Talk, Facebook.com/Real Fans Real Talk. Make sure y'all subscribe to that YouTube channel as well, youtube.com/For the Fans Productions. And if you're on the YouTube, if y'all watching us from YouTube, man, click that like button, man. What's up? Like, share, all that good stuff, man. And and if you're not in New York City, you can't watch us on TV on Thursday nights. Don't worry, you can still watch us on Thursday nights from anywhere in the world. If you go to the website, realfansrealtalk.com. We getting ready to update the website as well too, so y'all be on the lookout for that. We're gonna really start going hard with the website moving forward. Eric and myself, we got a lot of surprises going on. We back in our acting bag as well. So we got some stuff. Y'all gonna see us in some stuff over the next couple of weeks. We back outside, man. We gonna have some fun for the rest of this summer. So make sure y'all stay in the loop. Oh, make sure y'all subscribe to both the Sanchez Show and the Real Fans Real Talk podcast, streaming on all major platforms. Eric, final thought. Talk to me.
Come on, man. You already know, man. As I always say, first and foremost, we got to thank all of these supporters, because without you guys, it's just us two talking to each other. Let's keep it a buck. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it a buck. But we greatly appreciate the comments, the way that you guys have to continue to encourage us and push us with the content. You gave us the recommendation of the Women of Troy. We watched it, and we had the dialogue about it. And we want you guys to continue to do that. Let us know whatever topics you want to hear us talk about. Let's get into it. Also, pop out to the events. Like I said, Ballin for Peace. We got the football game coming up. I know the bowling event will be taking place in the fall as well. So if you're in the New York City area, make sure you pop out. Whatever games y'all going to, let us know, man, because we're going to try to meet y'all there. We're going to try to pop out with you guys and continue the engagement and interaction with you guys, man. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. So we greatly appreciate it. And we just look forward to seeing you guys again next week.
Facts, man. We ready. We ready. When we get off the air, we be happy ready to get back to the next show already, because of the support that y'all have been showing us over these last couple of weeks. And when I truly appreciate it. We both truly appreciate it because when I can go on Instagram and see the supporters, showing us love and wanting us to talk to new guests, when I can go on Facebook and shout out to Hoop Baller Scoop, you got him on in the chat, texting us or posting stuff. You know what I'm saying? We rock with things, or shout out to Courtney on the YouTube, wanting to get that conversation going about the Troy doc. So we truly appreciate all of you guys showing us that support. We are going to continue to keep this thing going. With that being said, for myself, Trip Young, my co-host and my brother Eric Sanchez, aka Legend in Two Games, we up out of here.
See y'all next week.